Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was very tempted to hop into the water. You know, if I were a decent and honest person, I would have worked on the next closest plane as I came forward, and I would have worked on these trees and you know, and slowly worked my way down to the rocks and you know, and then the water and then this. But I'm not. I'm selfish, and I'm uh, maybe more spontaneous than is good, but uh, I still thought to myself, you know, before I put this water in, I'd really like to at least see. This will be mostly silhouette here, not a lot of content, but the important part, as I mentioned right from the get-go, was the intensity of light that will be in this area. And this is such a determining factor in how I lay light on the water. I decided I better put the rocks in first. So that's what I did. I laid in the basic shapes, um, and then I had to go do something. And then I came back and looked at it, and I thought, okay, now I've laid in the basic shapes, now I'm going to start to highlight. And then I sat in my chair for a bit. I watched a short YouTube video, and then I came back to it, and I thought, okay, a little more here, a little more there. Um, and this is what we've ended up so far. This rock, I've left the light. I haven't not put light on it yet because it's the edge of the painting. I want very much to maintain this feel. Okay, we're going to have light below this, but we're also going to be picking up light to the left. To the right hand side of this rock, we're going to tone it down. So I'm happy with that. The highest highlight there is titanium white and yellow ochre. I'm not using any oil now. No linseed oil, no nothing. Just straight out of the tube colors, mixing them as I want, and then laying them on. I may allow some rock to show up in a few other places. A few, you know, I don't know about that. Maybe something up here, distant, in the shade, toned down. You know, not unlike this. Here as well. This will be quite dark, and this rocky point that juts out into the water. I need to keep that very toned down as well. You know, so I may put them in, but they're going to be subtle. They're not going to be important. We're looking at the desert right here. We're looking at the probably the single most interesting small area on the painting, supported by everything else. So I think you likely can see very clearly now the intention of my line, going down, sweeping, you know, cutting through here and here. It's called indicated line. You know, everything, all roads lead to Rome, or all lines come from a light source. And even though the sky is truly the light source, you know, off to our right here, we have the sun shining, and that sun is dappling the top of these rocks, and not a whole lot else in the painting, at least so far. This will certainly be the strongest. Broken sky, sun pokes through here and there, mostly just everything's kind of in that soft, somber, shady thing, a shady feel. As you can see, I've gone to a fairly large square brush. What is this? It's a number 8 flat brush. And you know, I'm going to show the light catching the odd tree trunk here and there just to break this up, as well as of course the tree shapes and maybe, as I said, some rock. We'll see about that. But you can see now I've gone to a much larger brush. My strokes are much more decisive. I'm leaving some darker lines and shadows. The contrast between the light and the dark becomes greater because this is so important. And as it comes to the foreground, you need that strength in there. You just have to have it. I will more than likely lay in just a slighter value to catch a little bit of soft light on this rock. I'm quite sure, paint in the very subdued rocky shoreline here, up to here, and then probably up a little bit. We'll see. I haven't decided exactly how that's going, how I'm going to go about that. But once the rocks are in place, then I think I'm going to tickle my belly and just go, okay, Phil, that's in hand. We know that's going to be okay. We have all the reference we need for the water, because the water wouldn't pick up anything from here anyway, except for generally what's darker, what's lighter, what have you. Given that our sun is coming in from the right-hand side, we could have trees standing behind us, and those trees could be casting a shadow over this water here. That's why, that would help to explain why the water would be toned down in this area. We're going to have a pretty good slash of light beginning around here somewhere, getting pretty intense and toning itself down, but wandering off to the left. And then a darker band, and then probably quite dark back in here. Probably not much lighter than the values that I have on the wash-in. And as I mentioned, I'm going to use this, this straight line dipping, line dipping, line dipping, line dipping. I'm going to use that effect a little bit. I'm not going to run a brush stroke right along those lines that I have there, but rather I'm going to keep those brush strokes quite horizontal, and I'm going to step them down. There's a step, there's another step, there's another step, there's another step, as opposed to just simply following the line. I'm not going to do that. You end up with a different effect then, and that's not the effect I'm after here. Okay, a very broken up day. I thought what I would do is just over the day get these rocks in, and then I just recap with you guys what I have here. The rocks I've used for colors: ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and white. And I'll leave it to you to decide where what is. I've taken you along on many paintings when I've been painting rocks in past videos, and described fairly closely as I'm laying the paint in. Didn't do it on this one because I just wanted to get this job done, and show the result of it. Next, once I have these where the rock meets the water, at least that, once I'm happy with that, then we're going to throw some water in, and we know for sure now where we can put highlights in the water, because the only thing that's going to dictate where light is on the water is where the light is in the foreground, and that's here. The origin and the spreading out and the dumbing down. Okay. I think I've been blithering senselessly for long enough. What I will do though is square off the camera again to give you a bit of a clearer view. See how bright those rocks are now compared to the sky? And it's not just because the values are higher in certain spots. It's mostly because there are hard lines between, the high and low values, and there are warmer colors. I didn't make cool grays. When I went to the grays on these rocks, I really went more towards the purples. In some cases, dirty purples, but purples. And these rocks are pretty much done a la prima, because I've laid paint on, and then I've gone in and laid more paint on. Where the rocks meet the water, or this rocky bank meets the water, I'll probably have to repaint that darker line a little bit, maybe not, we'll see. But you see there's more texture, there's more intensity, there are bolder strokes. It's a very unforgiving area, using a very unforgiving technique. Because if I made mistakes and kept laying more paint and more paint and more paint over it, eventually you don't get those hard lines, you lose them, because everything becomes sort of, mixed together, and it's been mixed then on the canvas. Okay, so those rocks are not done, but it's a good start. Actually, the bulk of them are done. Still good. Have a good weekend, guys. We'll talk to you soon.